Top of the hour on Daybreak Live, brought to you by Sarah Automotive, 67 degrees in downtown Sylacauga. Joe Bridges joins us now on the show. Joe, good morning to you.
Morning, Jimmy.
I've known Joe Bridges a lot of years, and he is involved in security work and self-defense, teaching and training, and we'll get to that in just a minute. But Joe, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My background is military. Retired military, combat veteran, Iraq. And so what I've done is over the last couple of years, I have decided to take the skills that God gave me through the military and then plant them in people's lives and to help them in self-defense. And, I'm married, have 2 children that are grown, and matter of fact, 3 grandchildren, and my newest one is 2 months this
Wow.
week. So, yes, sir.
Yeah. Your military background took you to Iraq, and you almost didn't survive there.
Roger, April 6, 2004, in a heated battle. We had to fight our way out, but God was good to me. Over 14 surgeries. God is good. So between my leg and my face, and like I said, it's all God. So.
Yeah. Now, you came back to the States, and member of Valley View Church here in Sylacauga, right here on Highway 21.
Yes, sir.
Talk a little bit about how you decided about security and self-defense.
Okay. I'm a retired grandpa. My wife is a home health care nurse, and so for years I've been at the house, retired, Mr. Mom, that sort of thing, raising grandkids. And the world we live in, things happening. One day I decided I wanted to help people and give back, nothing to try to get rich or anything. And so I wanted to take the skills that was implemented in my life in the military and share them with other people so they could protect themselves in the world we live in.
We just had the horrific shooting out in Texas Tuesday with at least 21 people, including 19 fourth grade students slaughtered by a deranged gunman. Right. And we say, well, that happened out there. You can never be too sure about your security and safety.
That's right. I've had people, that I know on Facebook that live elsewhere, and they think we live in Mayberry, and I tell them it doesn't exist. We have crime and danger everywhere, and if we are not looking out and preparing ourselves, we're fooling ourselves. And I want to make something clear. I have faith in God, and I believe in Him every day, but He gives us the common sense to watch out and protect ourselves.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And Joe Bridges, our guest this morning. How do especially females need to be aware of their surroundings when they go to Walmart or wherever, because there's something always happening in our community?
Well, just last night I did a class at our church at Valley View for the ladies, and I told them, I said, you're going to get tired of hearing me say it, watch your surroundings. When my wife goes out, I tell her to watch your surroundings, scan everywhere you go, and a lot of people think it's overkill. But it happens right here. It happens everywhere, small towns, big towns, because crime is everywhere, especially with the sex trafficking getting like it is. So, you have to watch your surroundings. And just because we live here in Sylacauga, a lot of people that thought it wouldn't happen to them, it happens.
So what are some tips that you can share this morning on self-defense? And I know knowing your surroundings is one, but there are many others.
There is. When especially daytime, nighttime, no matter where you're at, Walmart, public, a lot of people ain't gonna want to hear this, but stay off your phone. No matter where I go out, whether it's Birmingham or here in Sylacauga, I sit and watch, and people come out of public places with their head buried into that phone, and this is what people that abduct people look for. They look for people that's not paying attention. And it's very easy to take someone and abduct someone when your head is buried into the phone. So when you're going out in places, watch yourself, prepare. And I'll push it. A lot of people don't like to hear it, but I'll push it. If you want a firearm, don't just have one. Know how to use it. Be trained. If you don't, call me, and I'll help you with that.
So you can help train
Yes, sir.
people with use of firearms.
Yes, sir.
And it seems like everybody's got a firearm, but a lot of us don't know how to use them properly.
Right. Matter of fact, that's what I was telling the ladies last night at church. I said, if you have one, it doesn't do any good if you don't know how to use it. So if you don't, like I said, I do firearm training. I train church security teams. I train people one-on-one. I do ladies' church groups, men's church groups, young people. So whatever it takes.
And you know, we see a lot of violence in our churches with
Yes, sir.
people walking in and off the streets and either stabbing or shooting someone.
Yes, sir, we do. And like I said, we live in a fallen world, and it's not the America we grew up in. And I run the church security team at our church, and we're vigilant. You know, we love people and we're Jesus to people, but I watch who comes in and comes out, because like I said, look at Uvalde, Texas, at a school, and if they'll do it at a school, they'll do it anywhere.
Yeah. Joe Bridges is our guest this morning. And how can people find out more about the service you provide?
Okay. You can call me or text me at 256-200-1564. You can Facebook message me. I'm on Facebook, Joe Bridges. You can get me on Facebook.
So outside of our phones, what are some other tips you can give? Because a lot of us are out and about
Right.
every day, day and night. So what are some other tips you can give for safety?
Okay. When you're walking around and you're coming out at night, you know, I was telling them last night, a lot of these people are hiding in between cars. Check 2 or 3 cars before you get there. Check in between cars. Check in your back seat. Check in the back of the truck. When I come to my truck, I'm a man. I tote a firearm, and I feel like that I have it all together, but I still check my back seat, the cars in front of me before I get there.
Even though your vehicle may be locked?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, because these guys are, listen, the sex trafficking industry, a lot of retired military are joining them, and they're training them to abduct people. They know how to pop cars, they know how to pop alarms, they know how to get into vehicles, and this is what they do. This is their industry.
And you say, well, this can't happen here. Yes, it can.
Yes, sir, in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Other tips from Joe Bridges this morning about your own safety, and you know, a lot of times we just get kind of lost in what we're doing.
Right.
Not necessarily mean we're on our phone, but just getting lost at looking at what we may purchase.
Right.
And you know, people can, these guys and ladies,
Right.
they're watching your movements, and you need to know what's going on around you.
They really are. I mean, they're going as far as, I'm going to be doing a group in Anniston at a church here soon, and one of the young people, tracking device was found in her bumper. You know, a very small tracking device, like the size of a pin. And these people, it's state of the art. This is what they do. It's the biggest industry on planet Earth right now, sex trafficking.
Wow.
And so, yeah. And listen, they sit and they watch. This ain't just where they run up and they pick somebody. They sit and watch for hours and for days, and they watch people, they follow people. So be vigilant, watch your surroundings, scan where you're going, stay off your phone in public places.
So these people that are involved in this sex trafficking, you say that they are state of the art.
Yes, sir.
You talked about cameras, and you talked
Yes, sir.
about tracking devices. How common is this?
Oh, it's very common. And matter of fact, Europe and the Arab world is second, and we here at the United States is number 1. And I keep in touch with law enforcement all over and other people in the military that I deal with. And right now, this is the biggest problem in the United States is sex trafficking.
What about ladies and their purses? You know, a lot of times ladies will be shopping. Now, I've seen it. They'll have their purse in their shopping cart and not paying any attention at all.
Yeah, you know, keep your, what my wife does, she takes her purse and she'll wrap the seatbelt of the buggy through it, or she's holding it. Yeah, don't take anything for granted anymore. Anything that is valuable to you, keep it close to you, especially, like I said, I don't want to keep your children close. Don't let your children wander off.
Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. I sit and watch, and I'm amazed every day, whether it's Walmart, Publix, Birmingham, Sylacauga, Talladega. I sit and watch, and there are people that let their children, little children, wander 25, 35 feet away. Listen, people, this is what abductors are looking for. This is what the sex trafficking world is looking for. They're looking for people that are not paying attention, and this is what I do. I try to instill skills and benefits into people so we can flip the script on people like this.
Who is a common sex trafficker? What do they look like? Who are they?
They look like you and me, and they're very well dressed. They're not in black cloaks or, you know, big ugly vans anymore. You know, they're very well trained. And here's what a lot of them are doing, Jimmy. They're working 2s and 3s in a parking lot. When a woman comes to her vehicle to open the door, one will be waiting to throw her in the car and take off with her, and the other one follow her. Others, well, like they're pushing a buggy in the parking lot, and where 2 or 3 are watching, so when the woman comes out or the man or the child comes out, they can double team her. Yeah, it's happening. It happened in Target last week in Birmingham, so yeah.
Joe Bridges, our guest this morning, talking about self-defense and security measures. Without naming names, I saw, I don't know, a couple of months ago, where there's an incident here locally that you happened to notice and intervene. Talk about that.
Yeah, I was asked not to name places or people, but I was at a place where I was coming out, and I seen a lady being held against her will by 2 men. At first, I wanted to make sure it wasn't husband and wife and a ruckus. Yeah. And yeah, she was being held against her will. And so I asked her, and I said, "Ma'am," I said, "are you being held against her will?" And she shook her head, yeah, with tears falling down her face. So as I stepped forward, the 2 men were armed. I was armed, they were open carry. I had mine concealed. And so I stepped in, and as I asked her to come here, they got very vigilant. And so as I was going to move in on them, she had passed out. Well, when I went to help her, they took off in a black Hummer, H2 Hummer. And listen, if you don't think that this is happening in Sylacauga, get it together, because it's happening right here. The hub between Anniston, Birmingham, or here in Montgomery, they're working.
Yeah, you got these major thoroughfares, you got the interstate, right, where a lot of this stuff takes place.
Right. Oh yeah. And like I said, the biggest advantage these people have is people think it won't happen here.
Yeah. What about churches, Joe?
Oh yeah, churches, same thing. What we do is we have people come in, and if they're visitors one time, we watch them. You know, if they've been 2 or 3 times, we still watch them, because churches are a big target. Churches and schools are the 2 biggest targets right now. And what we do with our young people, we make sure that there's somebody always walking around, because people, what they have people doing now is after churches start, people will sneak in like they're visitors. They'll go and look around the classroom, seeing who they can grab and take out. We got that covered at our church, though.
So, you know, a lot of churches now, once service begins, they're locking most of the doors.
Yes, sir. Here at Valley View, we lock all doors but the front 2 under the columns, and that way there's only one way to come in, and we have that covered. But even though we have that covered, we still keep a very vigilant circle around that church. And
not necessarily Valley View, but other churches, right, as well. You know, a lot of people are carrying weapons even in churches today.
Yes, sir. They really are. You know, if you notice something here, I know a lot of people don't like to get involved, but if you notice something that doesn't feel right, tell somebody. Please. I mean, that's the biggest thing. People do not want to get involved. Yesterday or 2 days ago at the shooting, Bartok, Border Patrol, they were waiting on backup, and the guy on Border Patrol come in and took the guy. He got hit while he was dead. He didn't wait. He went in, and man, I tipped my hat to him.
Yeah.
He did what he had to do.
Saved a lot of lives.
Yes, sir. Saved more lives. Yes, sir.
So, Joe, how can people get in touch with you and get plugged into your self-defense and teachings, whether it's a church or a business or individuals?
Yeah, again, you know, and I'm going to say it one more time. My phone number, 256-200-1564. My voicemail's full a lot of times, so you can send a text first if you want to, and you can call. I'm on Facebook Messenger, Joe Bridges on Facebook. If you want to be trained with firearms, you want your church to be trained, your security. My biggest thing, I do a lot of church groups, and I'll tell you this, if you have a group of 10 or more, I don't charge but like $20 a person. I mean, I'm not trying to get rich, I'm trying to help people.
Yeah, and you know, you're a believer, of course.
Yes, sir.
But you know, believers face challenges just like anybody else does.
Yes, sir.
And you got to protect yourself.
That's right.
So Joe Bridges, our guest this morning, and if you carry a firearm or you have a firearm in your vehicle or in your house, you know, these people, they don't care. They'll come in your house.
That's right. They will.
And so you need to know how to use that firearm and where it's located, and keep it away from your children, Joe.
That's right. Yeah, with me, you know, my children, of course, are in their mid to late 20s, but what I always did was I would introduce firearm safety to my children so they were used to it. They wasn't curious, but at the same time, I'd always make sure it was in a safe place. And look, don't take for granted, you know, make sure it's in a safe place, and teach your children firearm safety.
Why is that taboo, Joe?
What's that?
Teaching our children about firearm safety and firearms.
You know, I'm going to use an old line from a movie of mine, Shane, with Alan Ladd. You know, he said that a gun is no different than a hammer, and it's good or as bad as a man using it. You know, my child, you know, my son, Bubba, you know, he's 25 this year. You know, knows how to handle firearms safely, and he can teach people as well, but it's because I implemented that into his life. Same with my daughter. My grandchildren are growing, and I'm doing the same with them. It's a tool, and it's only used wrong if it's taught to be used wrong. So introduce that to your young people. Train them in firearm safety.
All right, Joe Bridges, our guest this morning. Joe, always a pleasure. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Jimmy.
And I hope you have a wonderful and safe Memorial Day weekend.
You too. Thank you, buddy.
All right, more Daybreak coming up right after this.
Thank you.